Hey guys, we are reading chapters 3 and 4 today. I am so excited to meet a bunch of new characters today. And Buddy will be reading with us again. So let's get started. Chapter 3, The Bear Garden. So Jack and Annie are now in London, England, exploring the London Bridge. So let's see where that takes them. Jack and Annie passed under the stone gateway that led onto London Bridge. As they started across, Jack was amazed. The bridge was so noisy and smelly. Wagon wheels rumbled like thunder over the cobblestones. Pots clinked in carts. Horses neighed. Shopkeepers shouted. Good pies, hot peas, new pins. Shoes, soap, salt. A shopkeeper caught Jack's eye. What lack you, boy? He shouted. Nothing, thank you, said Jack, and kept walking. Watch out, a cart driver yelled. Jack grabbed Annie's hand. He pulled her out of the way. The cart rolled past them over the narrow roadway. Look, said Annie. She pointed to a bear in a wooden cage in the back of a cart. The bear had matted brown fur. His head was down. As the cart rumbled on, Jack shook his head. What next? He said. Them, said Annie, looking up. She pointed at huge black birds sitting at the edges of the rooftops. The birds sat still as they stared down at the carts and animals and the people crossing London Bridge. Jack shivered and moved quickly past the gaze of the giant, silent birds. Finally, he and Annie came to the end of the bridge. They stepped onto the riverbank. There they stopped and looked around. I wonder where those big kids went, said Annie. Jack studied the crowd heading down to the road that led from the bridge. There was no sign of the group of ragged boys. Jack took out their research book. He found the picture of London Bridge. He read aloud. London Bridge connected London to the south bank of the river, an area where Londoners went for entertainment. The Bear Garden was a popular spot. The Bear Garden, said Annie. That sounds good. Where's that? Jack found a map of the south bank. He pointed to a circle that was labeled Bear Garden. Here, he said. He looked up. And there. He pointed to a dark, round building in the distance. Great, said Annie. I want to see the garden filled with bears. Let's read, started Jack. Let's look, said Annie. She headed toward the Bear Garden. Jack put away their book and followed her. As he got closer, they heard loud shouting and laughter coming from inside the round building. Annie stopped. Wait, she said. I'm getting a bad feeling about the Bear Garden. Maybe we should read more about it. Jack opened their book again. He read aloud. At an arena called the Bear Garden, people watched bears fight with dogs. Animal fights were a common sport in Old England. They are against the law today. Bears fight with dogs? Yuck, said Annie. I couldn't stand to watch that. Me neither, said Jack. Forget that place. He started to walk away. Hey, Jack, look over there, said Annie. She pointed to a cart nearby. That's the bear that passed us on the bridge. Chapter 4, A Midsummer Night's Dream. Jack and Annie ran over to the cart. In the back of it was a cage. In the cage was a big brown bear. The bear was slumped over, his head still down. The sign on the cart said, Dan, the Dancing Bear. Dan? Annie asked. Are you going to fight? The lonely-looking bear raised his huge head and looked at Annie. His dark eyes were sad. He let out a low moan. I understand, Annie said. You don't want to fight. You're asking me to take you away. Annie reached for the door of the bear's cage. Away with you, someone shouted angrily. That's my bear. Jack and Annie whirled around. The cart driver was charging toward them. He's mine. I'm selling him, the man shouted. Come on, Annie, let's go, said Jack. He pulled her into the crowd walking down the road. But I have to save Dan, said Annie, looking over her shoulder. That guy wants to sell him to the bear fights. I know, said Jack, but we can't just steal him. That guy's his owner. Jack looked around. He needed to get Annie's mind off the bear. He saw the group of older kids from the bridge. They were walking towards a round, white building. Hey, look, the kids from the bridge, he said. Let's see where they're going. What about Dan? Said Annie. We can figure that out later, said Jack. Let's follow those kids now. He steered Annie toward the white building. When they got closer, Jack read the sign out front. A play at the Globe Theater, A Midsummer's Night's Dream. Great, thought Jack. Annie loved plays. She loved acting in them at school. A man stood at the door of the theater. He was holding a box. A penny to stand, a penny to stand, he shouted. The older kids dropped coins into the box and went inside. Wow, the play costs only a penny, said Jack. That's cheap. But we don't have any pennies, said Annie. Besides, I want to go back and free the bear. Jack sighed. What will you do with him if you free him, Annie? He asked. I'll figure something out, she said. We'll figure it out when the owner's not standing there, Jack said. Right now, let's learn something about this play. He quickly pulled out their research book. He found a picture of the Globe Theater. He wanted Annie to forget about the bear, so he read with lots of feeling. The first theaters were built in Old England. Because there was no electricity, plays were performed during the day when it was light. Almost everyone could afford to go. Neat, huh? Said Jack. Annie sighed. Jack kept reading in a loud, dramatic voice. Seating for the audience depended on how much was paid. The people who could afford the higher prices sat in galleries above the stage. Others stood in an area below the... Boy! Someone shouted. Jack looked up. A man hurried over to Jack and Annie. He was long-legged, with a trim beard and twinkly eyes. I could hear you from across the way, the man said. You read very well. Jack smiled shyly. No, you are simply brilliant, the man said, and I am in great need of a boy who is a brilliant reader. Chapter 5, Stage Fright. Alright guys, go ahead, see if you can comment your predictions of what characters we might be meeting in the next few chapters. Alright, so they're coming up to a play called A Midsummer's Night. And we see this is our cover. So start thinking about those things and guess what kind of characters we might meet next. Alright, comment your predictions in the comments below.